And good afternoon, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Global Speedrun Association. We have for you a very exciting matchup coming your way for the Super Mario Odyssey Any Percent League. This one between Dansta and LilKirbs. Joining me again on the mic today is Flare Fuser. How's it going, Flare?
It's going pretty good.
Having a good day so far?
Yeah.
Excellent. That's what you like to hear. I have just woken up, more or less. It's my weekend. I'm enjoying the time. I'm enjoying the sunshine, which has not been favorable for me lately. It's been very snowy and gross. So the weather's nice. The sun is shining, and we are here ready to play, ready to race. Now this is a very exciting matchup. We have LilKirbs, who is probably one of the scariest competitors in this entire league. LilKirbs, of course, showing his prowess in race formats, also holding the current world record for the any percent category at 1 hour flat, facing off against Dansta2106, who, as I learned today, is actually younger than the verification date that we have set today, sometime in 2002. But that doesn't mean that he is any less experienced in the game. Of course, Dansta showing that he is a force to be reckoned with, especially in the early game. So it'll be interesting to see how this kind of plays out. I think, as always, this is going to be a battle of consistency, and whoever is able to kind of hold on to their strats for the longest without making major mistakes is going to come out on top here.
Yeah, speaking about Dancer's early game, he did recently get the first 218 cap, which is like insane.
Yeah, absolutely bananas. And a time that we have not seen from Cap Kingdom yet. We're pretty much bordering on the bare minimum, or sorry, like the absolute limit, I would say, for Cap Kingdom. It's hard to really imagine that the time could come down any further than it has now.
I do believe the BTT cap's like a T17, but I don't think we'll be able to like match BTT, at least for like a very long time.
And that being said, Dansta had a little bit of trouble pulling the lever, getting across the bridge here. So LilKirbs actually taking a bit of a lead coming through the Cap Kingdom here. Very interesting to see, because Dansta, like we have mentioned, is kind of the king of this kingdom. And it's a bit weird to see him fall behind so early.
Oh, Dan's having a little bit of problem with left side, missing the jump, and I'm losing some more time over curbs.
Yeah, did have to back it up, unfortunately, for Dansta. LilKirbs going to be taking the driver's seat coming out of Cap Kingdom and into Cascade. Not a huge deal. We're still looking at probably about 5 to 6 seconds of separation here in the early stages of the game. But, you know, Dansta can't be very happy with that, considering he is, like we said, the master of Cap Kingdom, but he also has one of the best Cascade exits that has been recorded, so he can very likely make this up still in the early kingdoms if he plays really well.
Yeah, looking to be about a 5-second difference leaving Cap.
Yeah, LilKirbs a very solid Cap Kingdom. Looked like he actually left at a 220, which is very solid. Meanwhile, Dansta about a 225. Nothing to sneeze at.
Dansta's spin padding over to the side. Looks like he probably had his stick in the wrong direction.
Yeah, these are the kinds of mistakes you expect from the early game jitters, you know, when things are still kind of just your emotions are getting high. You're expecting the anticipation of this race. That happens to me all the time. It could just be happening to Dansta in this very moment. So hopefully he's able to kind of recuperate and get the gears turning and get everything working together in order to catch up here. But LilKirbs is going to be running away with a bit of a lead to start out this cascade.
Yeah, while Curse will probably be leaving Cascade ahead unless he messes up like Chest Clip or something. Dancer did tell us he's going to be going for the new sand route, so that will be interesting to see.
And now the new sand route is, we have talked about this a little bit in the past. We have seen Ekwon try and attempt it in his race last week, but essentially shifts around a couple moons in sand, gets the crate moon slightly later on in the run, and saves somewhere in the ballpark of 3 to 4 seconds if done optimally. However, you do really have to rely on a couple of things going right for you. After you've done your second Sphinx clip, you have to do all of your movement essentially as optimal as you possibly can in order to make this bird cycle work in your favor. Otherwise, it's really not worth. So, if Dance is able to pull it off, he will be saving quite a significant chunk of time. But if he even misses one Sphinx clip, for example, then he's going to be in some dire straits.
Kirbs and Dansta having no problem. Chess Club, well, yeah, Dansta having no problems. Oh, well, yeah, managed to back that up.
Did just pop out of bounds for a moment there. Didn't end up getting back up on the platform, but that is okay. Was able to get the up throw into the globe with no difficulties. But yeah, LilKirbs definitely taking the lead coming out of Cascade with a 5:07 exit time. That is phenomenal stuff from LilKirbs. And into sand. And this, again, is where the tides could change. Dansta only losing by about 7 seconds. So if he pulls off this new route successfully, even if LilKirbs has the perfect Sand Kingdom, Dansta could also do the same with the new route and save about 4 seconds and make up some time here. So it'll be very interesting to see if this is able to pull together for Dansta here.
You're gonna see a little bit of difference here, as like you said, Dansta's gonna be skipping the Rumble room. I don't think Kirbs gonna do late crate himself. Probably just do the regular route.
Yep, you can see him lining up his camera here in order to kind of roll into this pipe. So no late crate from Kirbs here. But we are seeing Dansta not bother with his camera and spin pounding directly past and on his way to the dune already. So now it looks like Dansta might be in the lead here, but you do have to remember that LilKirbs is 1 moon ahead. Also, Dansta having a lot of trouble with this dune moon, getting the ground pound here. LilKirbs catching up. So yeah, Dansta might be ahead by a couple of seconds just visually, but he is 1 moon down. That will all kind of even itself out as we continue through sand.
Yeah. Gonna be posting Dram. Let's hope both runners gonna be able to do that. Do you think Kirbs does Ice Dram? Yeah. Can be
He
going for a
certainly
little bit
does.
faster part of Dram. Well, variation, I'd say.
Arguably harder to pull off, a little bit
Yeah.
tighter on the inputs, but LilKirbs showing no difficulties at all. Dansta getting the traditional version of Dram as well.
Yeah, motion controls can definitely be a little bit like janky sometimes, so doing Ice Dram can be a pain.
Now grabbing Lost in the Luggage and then on their way to the Sphinx clip. So all eyes on Dansta here. Making sure that this route works essentially comes down to having your Sphinx clips work in your favor. The first one already not looking fantastic, but he does get through on the second try. LilKirbs right behind. So this is where things are really going to matter. Dansta just capping off the top of that second pyramid of coins, so he might be kind of low. You know, he might be in a little bit of trouble and already missing the first one, and he's just going to clip right back in and try again. I think that's probably the smart choice if he's going for this new route because, like I said, the bird cycle is extremely tight. You really do have to get this on the first try or else you're going to really ruin everything else. Now, very, very close to clipping back in bounds. Oh, and he did clip back in bounds. Now, this is why this route is just as risky as it is. Do not recommend in races, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching at home, because this can happen. Not only does he have to go and get the crate in a very, very, very slow way, but he's going to have to basically try and catch the bird at the very last possible moment. And he might not even make it in time. He might have to settle for some other backup. LilKirbs, meanwhile, taking the more traditional approach to Sand Kingdom, a little bit safer. He's on his way to the cactus, into the oasis. He will have no problems with his bird cycle. His Sphinx clips were looking phenomenal. But yeah, all eyes on Dansta to make sure that he can kind of pull out the rest of Sand and not lose too much time. But it doesn't surprise me that Dansta, of all people, would be trying to go for a route like this.
Yeah, Dancer definitely tries to improve his early game as much as possible.
Yeah, at any cost, even in a race situation.
Yeah, he's like about like 11,000 attempts or something, and he said like a couple thousand of them are just like cap and just CCS in general. So like I said earlier, Dancer just tries to hone his early game as much as possible.
All right, so looks like Dansta is going to be able to get away scot-free here. Bird is coming around the Oasis for the second time, so he will be able to just grab the moon on the Bird's second pass and continue along in Sand Kingdom just fine. But definitely by choosing that route, he is giving himself up a little bit of time as a result. Two LilKirbs who is running away with the lead so far. So LilKirbs might have had a 6 or 7 second lead coming into Sand Kingdom, but now it's looking to be more like 30 to 35.
A 10 flat, fade to black. That's definitely like insane.
Yeah, LilKirbs is on the run of his life at the moment. You know, no mistakes to really speak of. He has been doing absolutely everything right.
For all we know, this could be the run.
Yeah, there is a lot of tension and hype looming around in the air right now as a result of the infamous sub-hour goal that has been kind of on everybody's tongues since the beginning of Super Mario Odyssey speedrunning. Is sub-hour possible? And we are basically on the cusp. LilKirbs himself does have a 1 hour flat PB. Would be even more hype if somehow we were able to see the first sub-hour in a GSA race.
Yeah,
Don't get
that
your
would
hopes up
be
too
like,
high, though. This, of course, is a very difficult thing to do.
yeah. Having no problem with late clip. Let's see if he's gonna be able to get the up throw. Yeah, getting the chest and the checkpoint. We'll probably be switching to Joy-Cons here as the time delay from late clip does come. Not all of it, but some of it comes from Dance. They're gonna be taking gonna be missing that completely. It's a little bit unfortunate for him. So like I was saying with curves, probably gonna be switching to Joy-Cons to down throw to capture the cheap. Saves about 2 to 3 seconds over just going down and getting it normally. If I'm correct.
It's about 1. It's not quite
Oh.
as substantial as you might think, but LilKirbs is going to take advantage of it for sure. Dance's late clip looks good as well. He's through the wall and into the corridor, spiky corridor beneath the water there. LilKirbs still on a very, very good run. He did have just a fish bonk to kind of slow him down, but aside from that, looking very, very sharp. Could be looking, most likely going to be looking at a sub 13 a lake exit here, which is very spicy pace.
Yeah, watching the streams, I have seen that MSSL and Lost as well has been Curves' enemy lately, so let's hope he's gonna be able to get past that. Curbs with an insane run so far, like no mistakes at all.
Yep. When you have to comment on a fish bonk, you know that the run is going very well.
Yeah.
Yep. Fade out at 12:54. So exceptional pace by LilKirbs so far. Dansta following behind. He's going to be globing right away here. Going to be looking to exit lake at around a 13:08 or 13:28 rather with the cutscenes here. So about 30 seconds behind so far. They both had a very good late kingdom, but again, LilKirbs solid, phenomenal Sand Kingdom. Dansta trying the new route and not performing exactly the way that he wanted, so he is going to be giving up a lot of that time in Sand, but anything can still happen. We are still early in the race. LilKirbs obviously looking to maintain his momentum, because if he can do that, we might be looking at a potential race world record here.
Yeah, we are in Wooded, however, one of the scariest kingdoms of the run, because of the OOB movement and Nuclip, or as I was saying yesterday, Oob.
Oob, yep. You have to be very careful about your oob movement. And of course, LilKirb's the first to approach this nut clip. Instant backflip, getting the nut as fast as he possibly can. That clip setup looks very good. He's going to be through the wall. Oh no!
Oh no!
Taking a bonk and falling back inbounds. At least he did not fall into the deep woods, but this is going to force him to go for the older route or potentially a rock clip setup here. So it's going to come down to Kirbs trying to get through this wall. Dansta is going to be creeping up behind very slowly here.
Kirbs having some problems with rock clip.
Really trying the setups here, and he finally does get through, so he is going to be leading Dansta still.
Oh no, Kirbs!
Once again.
Dansta's having no problem approaching the oak movement, unlike Kirbs having some problems here.
Oh, LilKirbs, no. Dansta's out of bounds movement is clean. He is up the ramp, and he is going to be going on his way through the traditional wooded route here. Meanwhile, LilKirbs, I'm not really sure what he's going to do. Okay, I see. So he's going to be using the tree nut, yeah, essentially as a backup for the rock wall. Now he's going to be looking to basically go about the route the same way, just avoiding the rock wall, coming up here, doing the ramp. Man, that is a huge time loss, and Dansta has taken the lead just over that huge mistake here. And what was essentially potential world record pace has now been shattered by that mistake.
Yeah, I don't
LilKirbs
think
going to
it's
be playing catch up.
all now.
It would be pretty hard to say that even a 100 is possible with a mistake like that. Probably losing about 35 seconds if I had to guess, maybe even more, considering Dansta was about 30 seconds behind and now he's about 30 ahead. It's pretty hard for me to believe that a 100 is possible with LilKirb's mistake there.
Kirbs gonna be doing the special version of FRS, which when you do it without the Piranha Plant Moon, is a little bit more precise. Let's hope he's gonna be able to get that.
I think Kirbs is going to be getting the Piranha Plant Moon because he doesn't have a choice. He didn't get the rock wall moon, so he had to get the tree as a replacement. But yeah, Dansta's in the tower, is kind of running away with this at the moment. But that's just kind of how it goes. These league races, you just really never know. You try and play at your peak performance, but just about anything can still happen. And as we saw, LilKirbs taking the huge fall there as a result, and Dansta's running away. So LilKirbs going to have his work cut out for him. I'm going to hope for no more huge mistakes like this. And that's just the story of Wooded Kingdom, to be honest. Wooded Kingdom is probably the most terrifying kingdom in the run, in my opinion. Can definitely throw things off the rails. And
yeah, definitely
a killer of your early game. I have this running gag that if I have a good Sand Kingdom, I can almost guarantee that my Wooded Kingdom is going to fail immediately afterwards.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Oh, Dansta having some problems in the pipe room, taking damage, missing the missing fast pipes.
Yeah, bit of a weird setup to try and get the backup there, but he does. Gonna have to do a damage refill, not a big deal. He is warping to the Odyssey now. Meanwhile, LilKirb's hot on his tail in the pipeway room himself, just needs to get both of those moons, and then he's going to be on his way through to the Odyssey.
Kirbs having no problems with the last jump in pipes. Gonna be approaching Cloud Kingdom, not one of the hardest kingdoms. But then we have Lost, which is a short kingdom, but definitely a killer.
Certainly can be. We've seen some pretty crazy things in this league so far. We have seen some deaths into the poison. We have seen some klepto triggers happening in this league already. So, you know, as long as you play it clean, usually things don't go wrong, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they can play clean all the time. So, hoping for the best, but we shall see. But first, Cloud Kingdom, our first approach with Bowser, of course. And Dansta the first to approach.
We're doing some fancy strats to go to the Bowser fight, and it's having no problems so far with the fast Bowser. So Kirby's gonna be able to do the same. Approaching the final phase, you take a damage boost, which is possible, damageless, but is definitely a little bit harder.
Yeah, you don't usually see it happen just because there is less time afforded to you to make that happen.
Yeah.
Alternatively, you can also do the last phase without a damage boost. It just so happens to kind of set you up a little bit easier. You don't have to worry about your backflip being spaced properly or anything like that if you're in a damage boost state.
Against approaching Lost, like I said, one of the scarier kingdoms. Could be a chance for Kirby to get his lead back. Or Dansta maybe getting a bigger lead.
Very, very sketchy looking meme tree from Dansta here. Able to just clear the gap. That was very, very scary.
Yeah, his angles are a little bit odd. Dansta did say that he had some stick drift in Cascade, so maybe that's what happened there.
Yeah, hopefully not going to send him off too badly.
Yeah. Those Wonders having the problem with the butterfly move, which is definitely one of the scary parts of Lost. Oh no, Dansta bonking on the tree and taking a death.
Oh no, and this sends you all the
No.
way back to the Odyssey. So this is all it really took to change the lead again. So while Dansta can just essentially just go right to the tree, he's going to take a bonk, but he didn't fall into the poison again. So going to be, oh my goodness, basically very, very sketchy coming up here.
No.
Oh, he didn't get his triple jump either, and back into the poison for Dansta. Oh my goodness.
Yikes.
Oh man, condolences to Dansta. You know, these guys are just trading bad kingdoms back and forth. Dansta with a terrible, terrible sand. You hate to see what he attempted to go for there, but oh man, you can see the stick drift here. You can see exactly just how bad it is for Dansta right now because that cap went in the complete opposite direction that he wanted. So it must be affecting him very, very badly here. That can be the only explanation.
Yeah, it looks like Dansta's gonna be buying a new Protocon after this.
That might not be enough of an angle to get it open. Okay, he did manage to break open the rock. LilKirbs is leaving Lost Kingdom here, but Dansta taking 2 deaths in Lost, handing the lead back over to LilKirbs as a result.
Dansta, no, taking another death.
No.
3
I don't know
deaths
if you
in
can
Lost
blame.
now.
I don't know if you can blame that one on stick drift. That was
Yeah.
essentially just bad execution, bad aiming on Dansta's part, and he's going to have to make his way all the way back up again.
Gonna be doing the old meme tree to get back up.
A really, really unfortunate situation for Dansta here. And he is going to try his best to just gather the last moons that he needs and on his way to the next kingdoms. But, man, just like that, handing the lead back over to LilKirbs, and LilKirbs is going to be running away with this one. I feel like I've said that 3 different times for 2 different runners in this situation. But
Oh, Dansta took another death. They didn't do the poison warp. Well, actually did do the poison warp, my bad.
luckily, did go back to the Odyssey with all of Moons in tow, so he will be fine to just continue on to the next kingdom. But 4 deaths in Lost Kingdom, and you know what that means? That means essentially he was already pretty strapped for coins after that Sphinx room. 4 deaths though, and
Oh
he
yeah,
is
I
not
didn't even
going to
think
have
about
enough
that.
coins for the Snow Kingdom moon. So he is going to have to make sure that he knows to go to Seaside first, or he's going to have some trouble in there as well.
Yeah, but with 4 deaths, even if you do, oh no, Curbs, Curbs taking another death.
Curb's
Wow, this
trying to
one.
go for that early elevator cycle and gets bullied by the Goombas on the elevator there. So he's going to have to reset this. But, you know, I think that he must at this point know just what situation he is in versus Dansta. So probably not sweating too badly. Dansta still has to make his way to City Hall, just starting Night Metro now.
Yeah, but even if Dancer goes to Seaside, I don't think he'll still have enough coins. I'm gonna think he'll have to do Ranger Room.
You might be right. That is a
Yeah.
very, very tight coin count there. Interesting movement choices from Dansta here. It is very likely the controller is causing him some issues. Oh no! And now I think he's just getting perhaps tilted a little bit in this situation. Just going to use the stairs to get up City Hall here. There is a backup you can do. Maybe Dansta's not entirely familiar with it, but yeah, I can see the frustration in the way that he's playing.
Yeah, about that backup you're talking about, I do believe you go into the taxi and then go into a little, like, go on top of the lights, backflip, and then go back on top of the surface and then just do City Hall as normal. Crew's about to go on his second phase double regular fight. Let's hope he's gonna be able to get a 2-cycle. Thanks to having no problem with City Hall, gonna be approaching this last jump.
It was a pretty good wiggler from Curbs. The cycle was a bit weird, but he made the best of it.
Yeah. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it'd been a better idea for Gangster to fall down and go up the stairs, because he would be getting some extra coins that way.
Potentially. I think going out of your way for coins can potentially be a lot slower than just choosing to go to the Rango room instead. The
Yeah.
Rango room versus the shop, we're looking at a difference of about 2 seconds at an optimal level, so really not a big deal. You just have to be aware. Being aware is the part that will save you the most time, essentially. If you don't notice and you start going to the shop and trying to buy the moon ahead of time, that's when you're going to run into problems. Also, it looks like Dansta and Curbs actually got the exact same wiggler cycle there. Fascinating stuff. But Dansta able to make the most of it a little bit better than LilKirbs here. So making up a bit of time here. But LilKirbs is already literally flying through Day Metro, on top of buildings, in the streets, doing the scooter clip on the drive-by, all of these crazy shenanigans, and flying through the stage. So Dansta still has his work cut out for him if he wants to catch up. What a zany race, though, so far. Just amazing how these guys are, you know, we say it all the time. These guys are obviously playing at a very high level, very optimal play, but just about anything can happen and will happen in these league races. When you combine the fact that these guys are playing at such an optimized level, and you combine that with the nerves of being in a race setting, things can go horribly wrong very quickly.
Yeah, Curbs unfortunately pyloned it flying right into the building, losing all its momentum. And as you were saying, this race has been pretty insane. We've seen the lead go from one runner to the other over and over again. Dance's stick drift definitely showing a little bit over there,
That
going right
was
to the side.
very bizarre, yeah.
Yeah. This thing have a lot of problems with Scoot Cliff.
Still no scoop clip success here. There he goes. He's in the clip now. But yeah, that stick drift really hitting him hard. It's fascinating that maybe, I'm not sure if he knew about the stick drift before the game started, but definitely something you want to keep under wraps, because this can really set the tone for a lot of other things here. You can see already having a lot of difficulties just trying to maneuver in the game. And, you know, it makes me worried. It makes me worried for the future of Dansta's race here. It makes me worried that, you know, we have things like the Mecha Brutal coming up where, you know, making sure that your dives are going in the right direction is very important. Makes me worried about dive back strategies for the shards in Bowser's Kingdom, making sure that you go the proper direction, or, you know, things like Bowser Dram, for example. He will likely attempt that trick and not be able to do it because he'll be diving in the wrong direction. All of these things combining together makes for a very scary situation for Dansta.
There's having some problems with the climb. Is he able to finally get it?
He gets the spin pound off of the City Hall after a reset up, which is very interesting.
Kirb's getting the snipe successfully. Gonna be finishing up Metro with this last sub area and then going on to Snow Kingdom.
Yep, just 2 quick moons in here and then on his way. Now, fascinating to say that even with that almost minute worth of time loss in Wooded Kingdom, LilKirbs is still going to be exiting sub 31, which basically means that if Wooded had not happened, you know, you'd be looking at something like a 29, maybe even a 4x coming out of Metro Kingdom, which is absolutely bizarre. So LilKirbs, aside from Wooded, still on an extremely exceptional run here.
The only really mistake I can think of is that one death when he tried to do the fast haul.
Right. But still, nothing really terrible. Oh, no.
No.
Dansta's dive not connecting there on the moon. Maybe some more stick drift issues, potentially. So he's going to have to climb all the way back up. But yeah, we are witnessing Spaghetti Fest 2019 by the looks of it. Also, Cappy is out, and he's going to have a hard time. Okay, he did get Cappy back in time to make it onto the building there. I was a bit scared for Dansta in that moment, but
Kirb's clearing up Snow Kingdom. I'm gonna be doing some awkward rolls because of the surface. Dan's having some problems taking a bonk over there. But heading onto this area, gonna be finishing up Metro. Which would I believe will be like a mid 32. Maybe a high 32 actually. Kirb's gonna be going inside into the town of Shiveria.
very clean looking outside movement and into Shiveria. Now, LilKirbs coin count, no problems here at all. A 129 means that he will be able to afford that moon without any difficulties. LilKirbs trying for a spin pound there after a dive. A bit of an interesting setup. Doesn't look like he's going to be getting that moon clip at all. And having to do the backup, which is just going down the hallway like the regular way to do. The intended way, the intended method, of course. But yeah, Dansta, noticing his coin count, is going to be going to Seaside first here. The smart play. He is at 55 coins, which I think is essentially borderline. He may be able to kind of scrape by with the coins that you can get in Seaside. He might be a little bit short coming out of Seaside, but with the coins available to him in Snow Kingdom, as long as he doesn't afford any more deaths, should be able to make up the difference, no problem.
So we're gonna be going to this Goomba room, just getting to the 2 moons in here, and then we'll be seeing one of the scary parts of the run, which is Snowdram. Do you think we're gonna be seeing the new route? Yeah, we're gonna be seeing the new Sphinx Tip route from Dansta.
I would be very surprised if we don't from anybody in this particular
Yeah.
league. A lot of people saying that this route is actually easier to execute on than the notes route that we had in the past.
Yeah, I would agree.
Already getting some predictions in the chat that Curbs will miss Snowdram and Dansta is going to win the race. Now, LilKirbs, of course, being one of the most consistent Snowdram performers of this entire league, very unlikely to see that he will miss it. But of course, Commentator's Curse could be coming in strong right now as we speak. We just don't know.
Instead of 96 coins, you can just easily grab something like 4 on the outside part of Snow, or maybe in the Blow Joey room, so he will be fine on coins.
Yes. As long as there are no more deaths on Dansta's part, he should be okay. This has been a pretty clean seaside from him. LilKirbs going for that Snowdram, getting the spin throw roll cancel to open chest. Very nicely done. No mistakes from LilKirbs here in Snow Kingdom. Even getting the Shireen bounce. Very, very stylish stuff. And now he's going to be on his way to Seaside. And now Seaside is the shorter of the two splits. So the fact that Dansta is here in Seaside and LilKirbs is on his way is a pretty good signal that LilKirbs is holding on to a very substantial lead, probably somewhere in the ballpark of about 1.5 minutes.
Yeah, he's not having too many problems in Seaside at all.
Just had to hold on to his out of bounds movement a little bit tighter than he might have wanted. Did have to kind of try to get that moon out of bounds a couple of extra times, but not a big deal. And as Dansta approaches Snow Kingdom, LilKirbs is coming into Seaside. They're basically flip-flopping positions here. Like I said, Snow Kingdom is quite a bit shorter, or sorry, longer. So if LilKirbs is in Seaside already, that does mean that Dansta is going to be a significant chunk of time behind. LilKirbs probably taking the smart approach there. Looked like he wasn't going to get quite enough height trying to get up into that corridor, so he did throw Cappy against the wall. Very smart decision. So that he was not going to bonk against the wall for any reason.
Dan's still gonna be heading to Severia while Cribs is gonna be swimming around with a fish. Nothing too special here. Yeah, Seaside, nothing too big except the new reroute, which is not the hardest clip, but it definitely looks pretty cool. And if you have never seen the speedrun in this game, it would be pretty shocking. Don't think Dance is gonna be opting for the snow clip, but we'll see right now. While Crib's gonna be doing a clip himself, the Seaside clip. Dance did go for the snow clip. Looks good. Yeah, is gonna be able to get it. Oh no. I'm not too sure what happened there, but yeah, had some problems there and was not able to get it.
LilKirbs grabbing that moon out of bounds on the first pass. Very solid stuff. Grabbing this final moon inside of the Sphinx treasure vault underwater and then on his way out. So, yeah, already leaving Seaside on his way to Luncheon Kingdom. Dansta, meanwhile, getting his first story moon in Snow Kingdom. Still has to go through the Goomba room. Still has to do Snowdram. and then first buy the moon in the shop, and then on his way to the Snowdram section. So LilKirbs does have a very commanding lead, probably somewhere in the ballpark of 2 minutes. And yeah, again, aside from Wooded Kingdom, LilKirbs' run, very solid stuff. It's really hard to kind of pinpoint any mistakes that he's made aside from that.
It's not opting for most of those Goomba jumps as most top runners do. Basically, I think Kirbs did it. You just jump from one side of that little passageway. And she just did it normally, but did go for the last hop. Going clean triple jump. And speaking of triple jump, Kirbs is going to be approaching the salt triple trick. Don't think we'll be seeing any problems there.
Solid execution. Grabbing this first moon after a couple roll boosts. Very scary thing to do on the salt piles, but LilKirbs has the confidence. Now rolling across. And he does a little bit of a dive strategy here, looking to just get the moon as fast as he can inside the shadow of the pillar. Lurking in the pillar shadow, I believe, something along the lines. That is what that moon is called.
Then just barely having enough coins with 8 coins to spare. Gonna be approaching the Snowdram trick. Let's hope he's gonna be able to pull it off as clean as Kirbs.
Going in for the setup. Taking a little bit of extra time just to make sure he knows what he's doing. But he is across first try. Yeah, and now up to LilKirbs to keep the momentum going. Has been having a very solid Luncheon Kingdom so far. Nothing to really complain about. Oh, a little bit of spaghetti here, but nothing too serious. Just the geometry giving Kirbs a hard time, as is tradition in Luncheon Kingdom. It's exactly the kind of stuff you expect to see from Luncheon. Just as beautiful as this kingdom is, and as aesthetically pleasing as it is, these weird geometric shapes tend to kind of push Mario in some weird directions. You kind of just have to deal.
Yeah.
Dansta trying for that salt pile triple and actually not getting it. Gonna have to go for a backup setup here. Going for just the little platform instead. Luckily didn't die. That wouldn't have been a big deal. He would be right back at the Odyssey, which is really close. But do, of course, lose quite a bit of time just having to suffer the damage animation. Oh, taking another bonk. Luncheon really not Dansta's friend in this situation. He's just getting bodied everywhere he goes here.
I mean, all the groups have no problems at all besides that one little bit of spaghetti at the beginning. Well, not really beginning, but like right after sub area. Kirby was approaching the first fork sub area, one of the cooler sub areas, but a little bit hard.
Always very stylish to see these runners pull this off.
Yeah, having no problems there. Gonna be getting one more moon, and then we will be seeing the turnip clip. Let's hope he has no problems with that, but anything could happen. We have seen some problems in this league with turnip clip. I'm not sure about curve specifically, but just in general we have.
Interesting throw from Kirbs there. Looks like to be just on the cusp of what is possible for this clip. Yeah, just a bit of a faraway setup, but the second try is gonna do it. Gonna be fine. He is through the cage and clipping into the moon. So Kirbs on his way now to the rest of Luncheon. Just one final scary portion to really consider, and that is this surrounded by tall mountains moon and the movement it requires to get back to the mainland. So as long as he is able to execute on that just fine, he will be just flying through and ready to go to Ruined. Meanwhile, Dansta is trailing behind just a little bit still.
Yeah, that dive like right after the behind the mountain moon is definitely a little bit scary.
So LilKirbs grabbing that moon now. Has to do a dive onto that little platform there. You can see the little nook just kind of sticking out of the mountain. Does make it look easy though. No problems from LilKirbs here. Pretty solid Luncheon Kingdom, with the exception of maybe just some fiddling with the geometry. But LilKirbs has got to be happy with that.
Then it's approaching the forge room. Looking to be as clean as curbs. Yep,
Yeah, that
having
final
the
flick
problems.
looking good. Did grab the moon. Now he's just got to jump across. And he's going to clear the gap, so grabbing both of those moons and on his way out. And it'll be his turn now to do the turnip clip. And we'll see how he does here. In the race, in one of the races yesterday, we saw this Potobu jump go horribly wrong for one runner. Had forced him to do the jump again, but no problems from any of these guys this time. His turnip clip setup looks a little bit off kilter there, but he is just going to be able to just long jump into it to grab it. And that setup looking a little bit too close to the cage, getting bullied by the Spiny. So yeah, Dansta definitely going to be looking to just try and set this up one more time. But that looks good. Just needs to throw it against the wall and into the cage.
Yeah, Curb's gonna be taking a little bit of a breather in Ruin Kingdom as there's not too much that goes on here. And then gonna be heading on to, in my opinion, one of the harder kingdoms in the run, which is Bowser's.
Yeah, Ruin Kingdom offering a little bit of a break for these guys to recollect their thoughts and get prepared for Bowser's Kingdom, which is maybe not one of the hardest kingdoms to run necessarily, but when the nerves are high and the tensions are there, and you're so close to the end of the run, just about
Dancer throwing
anything
his
can
cap.
happen.
Yeah, Dancer throwing his cap in the wrong direction, did not get the vault.
It's a bit weird. Considering it was the exact opposite direction, it's a bit strange to see that might be the case.
Oh, taking a bonk there.
But unfortunate for Dansta, getting bullied by this kingdom as well. But yeah, here we are in Ruined. This dragon is extremely scary, not to be messed with. You can ruin your day. No pun intended. But here we are. He's just got the last swords to pull here. Now, LilKirbs having a little bit of difficulties with his cap throw directions. Maybe it's just that kind of day. Whatever day they changed their Switch date to must have been the day that Nintendo was bugging out with their control schemes, because control sticks going in all sorts of wonky directions without these guys' consent, causing all sorts of weird issues, including diving back inbounds in Wooded, and 4 deaths in Lost, and some dive strategies that are just not working out in anybody's favor. It's just very, very strange stuff. It's like a Freaky Friday situation here.
Yeah, definitely quite the odd race.
But LilKirbs still holding it together. Essentially, Wooded Kingdom was the worst of it. Everything else has looked very, very solid from LilKirbs. Still on a potential high 101 pace as a result.
Yeah, still having some problems, but not too many besides Sand and I think it was Lost. Yeah, Lost, his 4 deaths were definitely a bit of a yikes.
Yeah, and Luncheon Kingdom bodying him a little bit as well. did take the salt pile triple damage, as well as some damage on his way over to the next moon. So probably not going to be very happy with his performance in Kingdom specifically, but all he can do at this moment is just continue to try and make up the time and hope that LilKirbs makes some sort of mistake.
Yeah, there seems like Bow's just surrounded by a void. You could see a death here somewhere. But the most likely place that Curbs would choke in Bowser's, I think, would be the mech. It's definitely one of the harder parts of the run. And in my opinion, and most people, it's the hardest boss. Especially for top runners as they do like really fast strats.
A lot of these bosses in this game are very capture based and kind of center around the idea that you just have to wait for the boss to do his thing and then attack. Whereas this Robo Brutal fight tends to be more of a platforming type of boss, where a lot of the elements are basically just like the rest of the game, very skill based, not a lot of RNG. All comes down to execution.
Well, now that I think about it, like most of the bosses that like do try and use the capture feature, we either don't use it, like in mech, or we just don't do it. Like for example, people like Cookie Teal or Torque, that's all Mortal Peace, but we don't do it at 90%. Like all the capture bosses don't really have too many fast strats, so they're not really used at all. And Curb's having a little bit suspicious thing, but it turned out well.
Yeah, just diving again in the wrong direction. All sorts of stick problems from both of these runners.
Curb's gonna be approaching Bowser's Ramp. Let's hope he has no problems there. Place we could see a death, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Value dives are always possible.
And if we're going to see a value dive, this would be a terrible place to see it right here with this Bowser Dram portion. But LilKirbs pulling off the trick just fine. No issues at all. Interesting little spin the throw strategy there to get to where he needed to go. But he's going to be the first to approach these brutal refights.
Making the right choice there.
Of course, Harriet is not necessarily a refight in any percent. We don't really face Harriet at all in the run-through of the game. Harriet is hiding, of course, at the top of the inverted pyramid, but in any percent, we do not bother to go in there at all.
We're just doing some PTT strats there for that climb.
Showing off some style. Ooh, but not able to land the hit on the ogre first try there, but does make it work eventually. Grabbing this first story moon as LilKirbs finishes off Harriet, just has Topper left to do, and then he is on his way to the Robo Brutal fight. Just one extra moon along the way, hidden in the crates under the corridor beneath the floor. And then he's going to be on his way to Moon Kingdom, but again, anything can happen. We can still see some mistakes happen in Bowser's Kingdom. It's really going to come down to this Robo Brutal fight.
Next, having no problem with that hardest shard to dive back.
Very solid execution. Didn't quite get the triple jump he was looking for, but was able to do the job with just a single throw.
Clean charge from Dansta, no problems there. Comes approaching the crates moon. Can be going for that triple jump. Having no problems there. Doing an interesting spin throw there. Don't think that was intentional. Cruising that blind jump with no problems.
Very scary stuff. Did look like he had a bit of a weird angle on that first jump, but made it work for him anyways.
Dansta having no problems with Bowser's Graham himself. Both runners having pretty good Bowser so far.
And Curbs the first to approach Robo Brutal. And into the fight he goes. See how his execution goes here. Of course, starting with a climb that did not get off to a good start here for LilKirbs. Did land on the leg okay just fine after a quick little backup though. Not a big deal. Getting the second hit on Topper just fine. So now entering the invulnerable stage of the Robo Brutal. There's nothing you can really do here to speed things up. You just have to wait for this Robo Brutal to go on a bit of a rampage. Nothing he can do. He can try and ground pound the bubbles, but nothing will happen. So he does have to wait for this next phase to begin. He is going to get the third hit on Harriet, lining himself up for this final hit. 2 quick dives and target acquired.
Yeah, good mech from Crew. Besides that, a little bit of problem with the climb. No problems at all besides that. But Dansta having some problems with that. Managed to back it up. Not losing too much there.
And as Dansta grabs the Story Moon for beating the Brutals, LilKirbs already on his way out of Bowser's Kingdom, having beat the Robo Brutal himself. So, yeah, Dansta is still looking at about a 2-minute deficit, maybe 2.5 at this point. And, you know, if Dansta makes one more big mistake, this could be a sweep for LilKirbs. And considering the mistake in Wooded Kingdom, considering that he lost almost an entire minute due to a mistake just in Wooded Kingdom alone, it's pretty hard to imagine that you would be able to come out of this race with a clean sweep, but that might still happen here. There is still chance.
Dansta trying to do a little bit stylish strategy. About 0.5, or you grab a little ledge and then keep going to get some extra momentum, but did lose some momentum unfortunately. Not gonna be able to get any time save from that.
And it's going to be his turn to do the Robo Brutal fight. Let's see how his execution is here. Starting with a backflip, going onto the leg, onto the first little bolt of the leg, and his climb was very phenomenal. Good stuff from Dansta. Going to come down to the second hit. Got to line yourself up just right into a spin pound. Good stuff for the second topper hit. Almost just fell. Just made it far enough to land on that platform in order to get back up on the Robo Brutal there. Setting up for Harriet third. Does get that hit just fine. Got to make his way back up quickly to the Robo Brutal. Line himself up. 2 quick dives and target acquired. Very nice stuff from Dansta. Meanwhile, LilKirbs doing the Mooncave skip here, not going for any single jump shenanigans, just looking to do a side flip onto the top layer of Moon Kingdom and into the Cathedral, literally rolling through the stage. This is still on pace to be a 101.
Yeah, it all really comes down to escape, and that's it, because I don't think we're going to be seeing anything happen with Bowser. By Bowser, I mean the Bowser fight. This fight isn't really the most difficult thing in the world, so yeah. Escape, however, we have seen a lot of things happen in this league, so anything could happen. But even if Curbs took like maybe even 2 or 3 deaths in Escape, he would still have the lead. Curbs having a pretty massive lead right now, not too much good lead to his downfall.
unfortunate situation for Dansta there. Just, you know, LilKirbs had one really bad kingdom, but Dansta had a couple, and that's just basically what it all comes down to. At a league pace, at a level that is so optimal as these guys, it really does come down to the mistakes.
Yeah.
And LilKirbs just making less of them.
His only really mess up was just wooded. Well, there were some other stuff, but for the most part, that was his big mistake.
Finishing off Bowser handily here. And into the escape sequence. Now, the capture on Bowser here is approximately 2 minutes from now till the end of the game. If you play the pillar room optimally, you're looking at about 2 minutes. So LilKirbs appearing to be on what looks like 101 4x pace approximately. Which is absolutely insane. Even if you had factored out the Wooded Kingdom mess ups, you're of course still looking at a 100 4x pace-ish. And then, yeah, just a little bit of mistakes everywhere else, just kind of maybe a couple seconds here and a couple seconds there, but very solid run from LilKirbs aside from that. It's amazing that he's able to still pull out a 100 time, or sorry, a 101 time, considering the circumstances. Dansta not having a very good setup for his moon cave skip there. Not really sure what happened, but he's going to be looking to set it up again. Does get it on the second try.
Here's approaching the final part of the game, the pillar room. I don't think you're gonna be seeing like the super fast pillar where you basically just you head over to the left and hit the pillar at the same time. You're just gonna be seeing a regular pillar from him. Yeah.
Throwing that 6th fireball just for good luck. Always a smart choice. You just never know. Sometimes that first one can be really hard to hold, so it doesn't hurt to throw an extra one just in case. But getting a very solid 3rd pillar there. And as a result of that, able to break this final pillar as fast as possible. He's on the final platform. He is swiping away. And he is going to be safe and winning this race with a time of potentially 101.38, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 101.38. LilKirbs coming away with the victory in this one. Extremely solid performance by LilKirbs. Again, the only real huge mistake to really write home about is that Wooded Kingdom that LilKirbs did suffer. And, you know, that really was the determining factor. Dansta had the lead coming out of Wooded Kingdom and threw it away and lost, and then threw it away just a little bit more in Luncheon, and that's going to be the determining factor. It's going to be down to Dansta now, essentially, to try and make up as many points as he possibly can.
Yeah, I do think it's gonna be like a mid 104 if he does play optimally for the escape and pillar sequence.
So Dansta beginning this escape section now. We are basically on the cusp of potentially LilKirbs getting full and total points out of this race. Like I said, about 2 minutes of time between capturing Bowser at the beginning of the escape sequence and shooting out of the wire. So Dansta looking to be on pace for about a 104 3x. So that really could determine whether LilKirbs gets full points or maybe is just missing out on 2. But speaking of which, LilKirbs joining us in the call now, the winner of today's match. LilKirbs, how do you feel that race went? Tell us your thoughts. I want to hear everything you need to say about Wooded Kingdom specifically.
I was actually going to start in cap, because I think I
Okay.
actually golded cap. I wasn't using my splits or anything, but it was like a mid 220, which is pretty good for me.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah. And then somehow I kept that pace up to the sand. I ended up getting like a 10 flat fade out, which is pretty good considering
Absolutely
I don't use the
bonkers.
That was insane.
Yeah. And then Lake, I mean, it was fine, but that was my first. Well, it's split banner now, so that was my first 4x there, which has been like a small little mental barrier, I guess. So that's pretty helpful. And then wooded. After I got the clip, I think I was just nervous at that point because I was 9 seconds ahead of my PB, which is pretty fast.
That is extremely fast. Yeah, we were commenting on the fact that we were looking at sub-hour pace going into Wooded, and as long as you kept it together, maybe Commentator's curse playing in a little bit there, because what happened in Wooded, of course, is very tragic. So yeah, what went through your mind? So obviously the very first time that you did the nut clip, you ground pounded back in bounds essentially. So what happened there?
Well, I got the nut clip, and I just messed up my angle because I wasn't like thinking too properly at that point because I was nervous from the pace. But I just kind of missed it, and I bonked on the edge. And then I went for rock clip, got it after like 5 tries or something, which was already pretty slow. But then I went for a faster backup that I don't usually do after rock clip. Missed that going in bounds. And there's been a backup that I've always thought of, like getting, because I don't do the tree route or anything. So I've always thought, in case in a race one time I were to somehow miss the OB moon, I could always get the tree nut, which is what I had to do there. And it ended up losing me around a minute in 8 seconds total. So that was a lot of time.
Yeah, we're looking at like a total minute for that entire wooded section, but you still pulled out a 101 and a mid 101 at that, which is just phenomenal to see just how far this game and, you know, especially this category has come, that you can make a whole minute worth of mistakes and still pull out a time that used to be considered almost impossible. So GG's on your victory here. Dansta we also have in the call, not so fortunate, coming away with a 104 4x means that he will be taking the shutout, only receiving 1 point in this race. Dansta, tell us what's going through your mind in this race.
The beginning was bad, then everything else was bad as well, so it was just bad. Especially lost. I lost 1.5 minutes there and to my gold, and I think like another minute in metro. So yeah, just everything really bad.
Yeah, you got bullied by Lost quite a bit, and you did mention something about stick drift at the beginning of the race. So there were a couple instances that you had that happen.
Yeah.
Do you want to continue to explain?
In Cascade at the very beginning, I think you said something. Okay, that maybe was me being nervous, but that was like I was holding forward, and Mario just went straight left into the rock. That was the first instance, and then in Lost, my first death. Yeah, those 2 instances, and I think there was another one in Lost, but that wasn't that costly. But those 2 things were really bad.
Yeah, when you went like straight to the side during Metro on Scoop Clip, do you think that was because of your stick drift, or were you just
no, that was no. That was just I held the whole controller upside down and just accidentally hit left.
Yes, that'll happen. Oh well, unfortunate result for you there, Dansta, taking the loss. LilKirbs taking full points out of this match. So GG's to both competitors. You know, there are still, I believe, 3 races, maybe 4 races for everybody to still complete. This is the final of round, I believe, 7. So yeah, looking like 4 more races for everybody. So best of luck in your future races to both runners. That is going to be it from us here. Thank you, Flair, for joining me on the mic.
No problem.
It's always a pleasure. And coming up after this, we got some more GSA action, league action coming your way. Coming up with some Mario Kart Double Dash Time Trial League. Don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. We will see you in about 7 minutes after a quick little intermission. Thanks for joining us.